in this place, but now we should be back in business, guys. So sorry about the little blip there. I'll delete that one, but we are currently live. Hopefully you guys can see it. Brody, if you don't mind, do you mind tweeting that one out? Because I'm working on I somehow forgot my mouse, even though as I knew I was doing this quarantine, and my hat is all askew.
Yeah, I can tweet it out.
I appreciate it, man. So you haven't done much research for this slate. Were you going to play this slate?
Yeah, I got 1777 in.
All right, I've got 1777 in also. It's I like this slate actually a lot. I think there's a lot of ways to go, and I really like it. I can make an argument a bunch of different ways. I've got some mix and matches with the pitchers, but I'm pretty condensed on my hitting. I like what I like, and I think that it's going to be low owned. And I don't think it'll be as low owned as sites like RG have them right now, but I really, really am going to be all over every part of the Royals, and I'll have Royals exposure in every lineup.
You like them for DK or you like them for
everything?
Everything?
FanDuel. I actually don't have them in my main FanDuel lineup, but I have them in my other all of my other FanDuel lineups are semi-stacks or partial stacks. It just feels like a really, really good spot. We get Leicester in the American League, so it's a really good spot there to take advantage of that. So that's what we're trying to do. I'm about to do my COVID test in a few minutes, and in the meantime, hopefully we can make some money tonight. So guys, say what's up when you drop in the chat. We'll get out of here in probably like 20 minutes, half hour. And, let us know how your day's going and how you're doing on the day slate. I actually haven't even checked my day slate lineups because I did the usual thing where I stacked the Red Sox and tried to fade Devers in favor of Jose Ramirez. And Jose Ramirez's game hasn't even started yet, but Devers with the 3-run homer in the first, I sort of just stopped paying attention after that because such mega chalk on the Red Sox. I was trying to get a little different and get off of some of the mega chalk, but literally 1 through 4 of the Red Sox was apparently the way you had to go, and you had to eat the 50% ownership on some of these guys. Carmen,
where was that last night, Bobby? Devers.
Exactly what I did last night. I did the exact same thing last night. Just the problem is Jose Ramirez didn't do anything either. It's always it's still the right strategy, right? Like, can we, just talk about that general strategy and, if you're going to, I made a 5-man Boston stack last night that was, I cashed in it. It would cash in the 888. It was a nice lineup. It was, I had Dahlbeck in there at the bottom of the order. Dahlbeck. And I had Jose Ramirez instead of Devers, and neither of them really did anything, so it didn't really matter. But yeah, anyway, things happen. That's just I did everything we could do optimally. I feel like to try and get when you really like the chalk enough. And unfortunately, I didn't play the stack the Marlins and Cubs, even though I looked back at it and I probably spent about an hour and a half of the 2 hours I spent on air yesterday talking about how this is very suspect, especially with the hit. And then I even wrote a whole long explanation of why Alzolay and Luzardo are not good plays. And I still played a little bit of them. Anyway, so it wasn't a great night for you, right?
What? Sorry.
Not a great night for you last night?
No, not good at all. Mid-pack just fell out of cash, like typical, right at the cash line. I'm just missing a few pieces. Pretty much typical every slate I play. So I'm either win it all or don't win anything. So
yeah. Hey man, I'll take it though. That's not a bad way. If you're playing tournaments in DFS, you're probably doing something right if that's what's happening with your lineup. So I want to say what's up to Carmen and K9 Bronco in the chat. Glad you guys are here. Guys, pop in any questions or thoughts on this slate. I have a decided idea of what I'm going to do. What is your 1777 plan? Give us an idea of who you considered.
Well, you did talk the Royals. They are popping the 6. So there's 20 teams in play tonight, right? 10 games, so 20 teams in play. Royals come in about 6 on the stack projections. I know a lot of people like to see the stacks that I do on that page. Toronto comes in at like number 3 as well for the night slate. So they're not getting a lot of ownership, Toronto. I don't know. What's your thoughts on them? I kind of might go with the 5-man stack of Toronto, I think, if I can.
I'm Mr. Toronto, so I can never say no. Here's my 2 issues. It's odd that they have a bunch of guys who are really good against lefties. The thing is, Kikuchi is actually a really good pitcher. Behind him, you've got a garbage bullpen. There's still power that he can give up. I just find these other spots a little too tempting to get away from. I do have a Toronto stack, and I think like the $66 or something like that.
Gotcha.
But I mostly am not focused as heavily on Toronto. I am very heavily focused on trying to get one-off bats, preferably the lefties, maybe or a two-man, maybe even a three-man or a four-man, but not a full stack as much with the Dodgers. Taijuan Walker has given up. What has he given up? Like 9 home runs his last 3 games. This is not the team you want to be home run prone against. And Taijuan Walker, who I generally like and usually like, he's just become, I don't know, he's fallen completely apart here. He can't. His hard hit rate, his strikeouts are down. I love the Dodgers. I like Muncy, Turner, Seager, but I mostly am focusing. My main stacks are going to be Royals mixed with Houston and a little bit of, again, a little bit of Dodgers here and there, a little bit of one-ups from St. Louis, but mostly it's the Royals and Houston that I'm really targeted on today with some love for, on FanDuel especially, love for San Diego. And then I like Oakland also. Those are my main. If I had to play only 4 stacks today, if I had to play a million lineups, I would be stacking mostly those 4 teams and using complementary stacks from the Dodgers.
Yeah, the Dodgers getting a little ownership. Houston's getting ownership for this slate as well. Another team that's coming in pretty good stack. The number 1 stack team is Padres tonight.
Yeah,
but they got 3 guys that are gaining a lot of ownership. And
that's why I
Cronenworth at 3.8. Ooh,
who's 3.8?
Jake Cronenworth.
Cronenworth, I know.
Cronenworth.
And the lefty, so people might not actually play him as much as the ownership projects him to be played.
He's only shortstop eligible now.
Yeah, and you've got Correa also at 3,800, shortstop eligible on DK. So it's kind of an interesting spot. I'm just decided to skip them on my main lineups. I'm playing Seager. But I do have Correa in my secondary lineups and my secondary stacks and whatnot. I really, really like I do like the Dodgers. I probably want to get 1 full stack of the Dodgers in, but I think this is a great night to 3-3-2, 4-2-2, 4-3-1. It is a 10-game slate, but there are a lot of good individual power spots, and we haven't even talked about some of them. So before we get into some others, any more hitting, why don't we talk a little bit about the pitching? Who are your main guys on DK? I guess you're not playing on FanDuel tonight, but I guess I'll throw out who I'm using in my main lineups on FanDuel whenever you're done.
We got for DK, Buehler and Musgrove are the top 2 guys right now. But if we're talking about stacking Toronto, we're talking about stacking the Dodgers, which 2 teams that I play very heavily. It's going to be tough to get those guys.
Yeah, I agree 100%. You're going to have to use the Michael Taylors at minimum cost, maybe a Michael Brantley in the outfield at 32. The Houston is just so cheap, but really like value. Yeah, Houston's value is just ridiculous on DK. So of course, as you know, with me, I'm sort of favoring them on FanDuel because they're a little bit not hard to get in, but they're a little bit harder to get in. Like paying 35 for Correa on FanDuel versus 3,800 on DK is not something I expect most people to do. And I'm double playing shortstops on FanDuel as well. So shortstops in your utility.
Yeah, I love that. I love that play over there doing that.
Yeah, I think it's the right. I think it's the way I feel the best about going at. And I do like the Oakland side of things as well. I don't even mind Seth Brown down at the bottom. Chapman down at the bottom of the order is a little bit overpriced. So I just built a weird overpriced paid up for guys. And my pitching is pretty simple. I'm using Buehler and Musgrove in my main lineup on DK. I'll just come right out with it. They are not necessarily – there's a million ways to go. I don't mind it because I think I've got different enough with the hitting, I think. And I also have some Taillon and Maeda as both starting pitchers. I have some Caprillion and Musgrove together. I have some Ryu. I like sort of mixing it up. I think there's a lot of good pitching options tonight that I could see putting up that big number. Buehler feels very safe. Musgrove feels fairly safe. And there's upside there. But I think like Tyon and Maeda's prices are hilarious. Like this is a joke. So I could easily see that end up coming in being the winner. In my 250 on DraftKings, that's who I'm using as my SP.
I like that. Get a cheaper pitcher in there.
Yeah,
any love for Cease against Yankees? Been striking out a ton.
It's a great play. I didn't get to it because I like these other plays, but I totally get it. I support it. If anybody else wants to do it, go ahead. I'm in. We did just get a Houston lineup in. Correa batting third, Altuve, Brantley, Correa, Alvarez, Diaz, Gurriel. So no Tucker, which is going to change all of my lineups. So we'll get out of here in 15 minutes. I can edit those then. No Kyle Tucker for Houston, which does kind of hurt their lineup a little bit. No Maldonado. It's Castro Myers. Okay, so Altuve, Brantley, Correa, Alvarez, Diaz, Gurriel, McCormick, Castro, Myers. So it's pretty much the B- lineup for Houston.
The B-.
It is. It's just no Tucker. I mean, Castro is probably a better hitter than Maldonado, but you've got no. Who else am I missing here in this other than Tucker? I guess it really is just Tucker. Oh, it should. We thought it would be Jones, Taylor Jones, but it's Myers instead. I don't know. It's not the best lineup, but I still am okay with playing my Houston guys as long as I'm just going to have to figure out a way to get off of this Tucker play, which was one of my favorites. I have him 56% on DraftKings, so that's going to be a change. Have you looked at the pricing on FanDuel for pitching?
Yeah, that's why I kind of said Cease because he's kind of cheap over there, 8-9. You can save a few thousand off Bueller, and if he gets a lot of strikeouts over there, you could at low ownership, you could sail to the top of a tournament.
I agree. I'm using Garcia as my main pitcher over there, 7,900.
Yeah, even cheaper. Yeah, right there. He's getting a little more ownership. It looks like right now than Cease, but yeah, that's a good play as well. I like that play.
He's getting more ownership, but like I said, I was going to overspend on the hitters who I didn't want to spend, like the obvious cheap plays on DraftKings, like Correa, like Alvarez, like McCormick. I just don't think they're going to get quite the ownership. McCormick might, but quite the ownership on DK. Let me just make sure that McCormick's batting seventh, which is what I thought I would be batting. And as you always say, you could play your man Gurriel. No, that's the guy who everyone seems to always leave out of the Houston stack. So I don't mind including him in your stacks tonight as well. Guys, get some questions in. Drop some. In. Yeah, we did this sort of like impromptu. We weren't really gonna have all this happen tonight, but it's we just wanted to have some fun and talk through our plays. And why not include everybody? The Kyle Tucker thing, I'm just going to have to make sure I get all of those changed. And I'm just going to wait till I'm off after this. So we'll just go for a few more minutes if there's no more thoughts or questions. Is there any how would you – as I'll just say how I'm stacking mine, and you can sort of – one thing I like to do tonight is I love Hunter Dozier at third. I love Michael Taylor in the outfield. I really love Whit Merrifield. Really, really love. He's I think I have him 80% on DraftKings. Lester, even though he's gotten a little better with the stolen base thing, he's still not good. And these guys love to run. You put him in the American League Park. There's also the power upside. I just really think this is a spot where I want to be all over Casey. And sure, Lester's turned in some good games when we didn't think he would this year and all this stuff. I am completely letting go of it. I think he is not the same guy he once was, and I am just ready to stack like crazy against him. So I think that, playing those guys specifically because you get stolen base and power upside, I think is just the right way to go. And Lester, has just been terrible. He did just pitch against KC, but it was at home, and he got rocked at home against them. Now you put him in the American League Park, a better hitter park. I just think this is going to end up very badly for he and the Cardinals.
Yeah, it's a good play. I like KC. I might have to use KC. I'm looking at their prices. Dozier's down to 2.7, and it's like, holy crap! Like these guys are affordable.
Dozier, the only guys, and what's funny is Hunter Alberto will probably hit a home run tonight because I always feel like every time this guy, I swear they lie about how many home runs he's actually hit because it's always like he's hit like 2 for the season, and every time I leave him out of my 5-man stacks, I feel like he hits a home run. So they must be lying about his home runs because I never play him. but I think everybody 1 through 6 is an excellent play in KC. If you really need the extra 700 to drop down to Rivera, sure. I just think you're much better off just playing Dozier at 2,700. There's no real reason to get to Rivera. And I don't think that outside of like even Benintendi, I think is fine. You know, lefty. Who cares? He's 2,700. He's going to be unowned. Perez is going to be popular. Merrifield will be popular-ish. No, they won't. Merrifield won't even be. It'll be.
Dude, these guys are coming at no ownership at no cost. These prices are ridiculous. I did not see this.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, keep going because they're gonna. That's how you can get a Toronto stack, a Dodger stack, Oakland big bat stack, playing some of these cheaper guys on KC. If you want to pay up the pitching, is still
exactly. That's my thoughts. Literally, exactly. And you don't have to pay up on pitching either. You can. There are some great, mid. Caprillion is in play, and he's high priced, but Tyon, Maeda, Ryu. These guys absolutely could have the best scores in the slate. Unlikely, but they're certainly going to be. They could very likely end up within 5 or 6 points of the top guys in the slate, and they're really cheap. Maeda threw 100 pitches, and that I don't even worry about. Like when I look at Maeda's game log, I'm not worried about how many fantasy points he's scoring. I want to see how many pitches he's throwing. If he's going to throw 100 pitches against a Tampa Bay team that's strikeout heavy, even though sure it could turn the other way, they could hit him like crazy. That happens sometimes. He's a really good real life pitcher who doesn't get the credit. And since he's come back from injury, he hasn't been he hasn't thrown over 100 pitches and he hasn't thrown 100 pitches until his last start. The fact that they were letting him do that makes me feel a lot better about him. And Tyon was pitcher of the month. What, a month? Not last month. Yeah, no, it was last month. He was the pitcher of the month. And this guy is 6,900. He hasn't put up less than 17 he put up 1 game less than 17 in the last month and a half, basically. I love the idea of paying down for those guys too. But if you are going to pay up for Buehler and Musgrove, it's really easy to fit in that KC stack. K9 Brown has a question. Are you stacked 4-4 on FanDuel or 4-3? I don't even think you need to go necessarily. I think you should be doing 4s. I don't think you need to. But I don't think it matters. I don't think at all you need to go 4-4 tonight. I just named a few stacks that I really like, and I don't think, I would take pieces of all of them. I want some exposure to the Dodgers against a pitcher who's given up 3 home runs a game for his last 3 starts and just looks completely broken right now. I want some exposure to Houston. I want some exposure to Oakland. We talked about KC already. I think that you don't have to do any of that. So I think you can really play your best plays after your 4-man stack. And I even think it's okay to go 3-3-2 if you like something enough, which I have one of in like the 55 or whatever it is. The 88 or 55. I think it's 55 today. But yeah, that's what I'm doing.
Wow, KC really can make it happen. That stack, man. Whew.
Also, the speed combination with the history of Lester, like even if Lester has gotten better at holding runners on, which he was laughably bad for basically most of his career, even if he's gotten better, even if all that's true, and yes, he's got a better catcher for him now and Molina and all this stuff, but you don't think these guys, the KC who loves to run every game, especially Merrifield, they're not going to try and test him right away? Like, it just feels like they're going to. So you have power and speed upside here. I just really like the spot for them a lot.
Yeah, they're looking good.
Yeah. All right, man. Well, I'm gonna get Kyle Tucker out of all my lineups and finish up with things. Any other thoughts for the people before we get out of here? I'm glad you guys all tuned in. I really appreciate you guys stopping by. Please like and subscribe, all the stuff that we always say. And if there's any questions, drop them in. We'll give it another minute or two. But yeah, man, let us know if you have any other final slate thoughts that make sense to you. I know you this was last minute, so I don't expect you to.
Yeah, it's pretty last minute, but it's not a big deal.
Anything you like that maybe I didn't mention or that you didn't mention, or any one-offs that stand out to you?
Ooh, let's look at the one-offs real quick. We can do that. Some home run picks.
Yep.
Ohtani sits there at the top all the time, but I know you like Garcia on the other side, but he's priced up. People are going to play him tonight. 20% on DK.
This is why I never end up playing him. He's expensive and he's always owned. He's got stolen base upside too. Like there's everything for him. But I'm just spending elsewhere. I'm not spending $6,400 for anybody.
Yeah. The Tampa Bay, some of those guys are still popping a little bit in that Rays stack. They pop up there. I know you like Kente Manada on the other side, but you got Brandon Lowe at 4.6, Cruz 4.6, Meadows 4.5, all pretty reasonable 4K hitters with upside right there. So I definitely like a little mini Rays stack if team that we didn't talk about. So.
Yeah, I like that. I think I would go more on the mini side with them. Maeda is a pretty good overall pitcher, but I agree with you that those guys, especially Meadows and Lowe, Lowe, whatever we're calling him this week, is definitely in play for me.
Yeah, some big power.
Yeah. All right, guys. Anyway, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for coming on with me, Brody, last minute. I appreciate it. It's good to always talk with you. I always feel like we get a little, it's good. I feel more conviction talking over my plays rather than I do sitting here alone. And one of the mistakes I've made too often is letting other people talk me off of stuff. And I unfortunately made that mistake yesterday. I ended up getting too nervous, and not that Morton was great or anything, but switching from Morton to Alzolay cost me cashing in the big ones on FanDuel because I was worried about the weather. And I just was so on the, God, I think this Alzolay Luzardo thing is so suspect. And I just didn't quite fully let myself buy into it because I let other people talk me off of it. And sometimes I let that happen, and I hate when I do that. So it's really good to talk to someone else who knows what they're doing. And, and then honestly, like, you could talk me off things, you could talk me into certain things, but for the most part, I think when you're just doing it alone, I don't know. I've always felt it was beneficial to talk through your plays with another guy whose game you have respect for. Anyway.
Right on.
All right. Well, good luck, everybody. Crush it tonight. Post the screenshots. We want to see some screenshots of some winners from True DFS tonight. Thanks so much for coming on last minute with me, Rody. And hopefully we'll see you guys at the top of the leaderboard. Good luck, all.
Good luck.